Today we will be reviewing the Gup-G Mobile Speeders launcher. Now while this whole concept of, launching the Gup speeders is a cool idea for this Gup-G, because of course the Gup-G carries Gups inside it, I do think it would have been nicer to have a proper Gup-G that we see in the show. So the Gup-G, this item came out 2014, sorry I have to hold it sideways because it's so long, and we only see the Gup-G until 2020 in the Caves of Sakakton. Many people think the Gup-G debuts in the Caves of Sakakton, but it actually debuts in Season 5 in the Chinese Giant Salamander with Min, and that episode was scheduled for maybe 2018, but then it released in China in 2021. But that is the proper debut of the Gup-G, and there we see it carrying the Gup-A inside. And later on the Gup-G is used a couple more times in Above and Beyond, so the Peninga Turtle and the Great Pacific Cleanup. But my point is I think it would have been nice to have a proper interior design of the Gup-G, and you could put smaller Gups in there. I mean, I'm not sure which Gups you could put in there. I suppose the Gup speeders probably do work best, and this was a nice idea. But I did bring the Lego Gup-G here, and I do love the design inside where you can put figures inside, and it's all sort of open to, have things in, like the Gup-G in the show is. Whoops, sorry. In this Gup-G, there is no interior at all, no front section to put figures in. This is exclusively a Gup speeder thing, which is sort of annoying, I guess, because I'd love a proper Gup-G that you can, put the Fisher-Price figures in. But this one is just for Gup speeders. It doesn't come with any figures or creatures, just the Gup and two Gup speeders, being the Gup-C and D, with barnacles and quasi in. Now, they were also a bit lazy with things on the outside. I'll show you the Gup speeders and everything in a second. But just looking at this, the only proper colouring it really has are the headlights in this yellow. Everything else is just one solid color with some stickers. So this front piece is orange, this bit is brown, the middle bit, the rest is orange, the legs are just gray. And the sticker for the product images, actually the Gup-G had Tweak, Quasi and Peso, I'm pretty sure, with some weird background, but for this they changed this image for the real thing. Now I do think this is just photoshopped from the Gup-X, because it does look like that, and probably just made it a bit more orange and added those Gup-G images at the back there, but this does look very much like the Gup-X interior. And with the sides, they were also quite lazy, just putting Shellington and Tunip with a blue random background with some computer screens. Here's Tunip, and Octo Alert stickers. And even the legs are supposed to be painted orange at the very bottom, but they didn't do that, they just kept them completely grey. And that's another reason, sorry, orange at the top, not the bottom. That's another reason why I really love the Lego version. It's very accurate with all the colours at the top here. These are right. These should be painted dark brown like the back, but here, I think this is more accurate, the top bit, but it's nice they had the detail of these bars, the orange ones. I do really love this Lego Gup-G. It will have its own review, but I did bring it here because I think it is a lot better than this one. That said though, this is a really fun item for shooting Gup speeders, and that's all there really is to it. I do wish it was accurate to the one in the show, but as you can see by this sticker, they hadn't, of course, animated in 3D the Gup-G because that only came out years later in the Chinese Giant Salamander, so they had to make their own 3D artwork from scratch, so they just used the Gup-X, and they made this stuff. But we know the Gup-G does not look like this on the interior in the show, but you can't blame Fisher-Price, they had nothing to go by. This had never been shown before, and it was only shown seasons later, so I guess that's fine. So going into the Gup-C, this is of course a reuse. The Gup-C was originally with Shellington. It's the same mold and everything, just Quasi instead of Shellington. Now the other Gup-C speeder with barnacles is actually slightly different. If I turn them to the side, maybe you can tell, but the one on the right is a darker blue than the one on the left. It's sort of hard to notice. Maybe you can tell a bit, but yeah, this is a different mold or something. It's something different about it. And then the Gup-D, this is again another reuse from Tweak in the Gup-D. Of course, I've got all the Gup speeders here because they're all going to work in this Gup-G. I'll show you how many we can fit inside and on top. And then there's also, while we're here, I'll show Peso on the Gup-D. So maybe it would have been better for them to release the Gup-G speeder with the Gup-G, but I'm not sure. This one isn't very detailed either, I'd say. It does sort of have the headlights coloured in yellow. Maybe mine have just faded off, but the midsection is just brown, the rest is orange. There's not much detailing. The legs are barely even there as well. I was talking about the figures. Yeah, you can't really put Min anywhere. I mean, you can put it on the top or whatever, but there's not really much room on the inside. So here's the interior. Sort of hard to see, but you start there and then it goes all the way through to the end with the gate that all functions while the wheels roll, and then at some point the mouth, which is spring loaded, will open and the Gup speeders will pop out. I'll just show you that from the front. There you go. I'll zoom out a bit now. Just giving you a good look inside. Now, I'll show you how many Gup speeders you can fit on top. Let's start with the ones they come with, Gup-C and D. I'll be holding the camera from here. And I know you already have Gup-C and D, but they're the ones I've got out. And you can fit a good 4 on there. If you really want, you can squeeze them up and try to put as many as you like. So there you go, there's quite a few on there. And if you really want, you can put some more at the front. Let's see the Gup-U. So you can fit a lot in there. And I will try to put every single Gup speeder on and inside this later on for you. But let's just get into the actual mechanism. Oh yes, by the way, the Gup-G is based on a salamander, so I did bring the 2 salamanders. One by Moose Toys, one by Fisher Price. I do prefer the Fisher Price one. I say that a lot, but this guy is really cute. This guy not so much, his eyes aren't even painted in. Here are the wheels. Sorry, this flap is sort of hard to keep open. When the wheels turn, these little spiky bits here and here move up and down to move the speeders in place. So what will happen is those spikes will move down, and then the Gup speeder will slot in here, and the front spikes will move up, and I'll keep it waiting. Then after one's been shot out, the next one slots in here, and is ready to be shot. So you can put about 3 or 4 speeders in here and just roll it along and they'll all get shot. And then the barrier will open, and then the mouth as well, and it'll shoot out. So we will be trying this out. One thing I will say though is what isn't a really good design is if you're moving the Gup-G forward and it's also spitting the speeders out. Sorry, you saw a bit off the set there. When it's spitting the speeders out, if you keep on going, it's just going to run straight over the speeders. And yeah, I think maybe it would have been better if, you know, it was rolling backwards and it shot them out. I'm not sure if that works actually. Maybe I'll try that and see if it can roll backwards and shoot them. But yeah, if you just keep on rolling it forwards, it'll spit them out and then it'll just run straight over them and it'll just start carrying them at the bottom. So that's not a very good design, but I think it's time to go test this out now. Okay, so we're here on the floor and I've got 6 speeders. So the Gup-G does carry the Gup-M and the Gup-A, sorry, the Gup-M and the Gup-Q in the Caves of Sakakton, and the Gup-A in the Chinese Giant Salamander. So I thought I'd bring them along as well as these 3 here. So let's start loading them up, and we'll start with Gup-A. If we just load it up, and it doesn't really like you having 2 like in a row here, so you sort of have to put it behind the 2 spikes. And we can put Gup-D there. I'll try putting Gup-G here as well. I think we'll have to put Q and M on top, although at the beginning I think I will just have it open to show you guys how it works. Here we go. Yeah, this is what I was saying, the Gup-A just sort of gets stuck here and it's going to get pushed along now. Alright, so yeah, that's what happens. They all sort of get dragged along, and it's sort of sensitive. Even if you roll it a bit, sometimes it'll shoot them out, even if you didn't want it to. Now we lost the Gup-G. Yeah, the Gup-G's still in here. So it does work really well. The Gup speeders don't fall out or get stuck or anything. Now I will do it with it closed, so it's a lot easier to see. And I'll do it sideways here. Yeah, so they don't always roll out flat though. And then they get picked up by the Gup-G, so not a very good design. Let me see if they roll backwards now. Let's try the Gup-Q. Put that in. Okay, that doesn't sound like a good sound. Yeah, I don't think it's supposed to work backwards. But here you can kind of see the Gup-Q inside. Okay, that one went out fairly nicely. I guess it is a sort of flat one. However, some of the others, like the Gup-C and D and G, wouldn't work very well. I don't think the Gup-M will land out flat because it's quite tall, but we'll see. Let's try it. And in fact, let's put the Gup-A in there as well. Yeah, I haven't come out flat. I'll move it back a bit so it doesn't overrun. Oh, the Gup just about managed. It is sort of noisy to use this Gup as well, as you can hear. I'll just show you once more with the two it came with. Again, sometimes you can, not always, you can kind of push it in. Sometimes you do have to just line up. And yeah, this thing doesn't always stand up. C and D. I mean, if you really want, you can try and put one here, but it won't really work. I don't think it'll shoot two at once, actually. I think I've tried it. Almost. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't always work. I'll just try again with the Gup-D here. Whoops. Don't really want to damage these too much, so this will be the last time. Just about landed. You almost fell over there. Now, in case you were wondering, yes, this does also work on carpet, and it might be a better option as well because you can let the speeders jump out less violently, like that, because on harder floors they might pop out and the paint could get chipped a bit like it has on this peso, although I'm not sure it was chipped because of me using the speeder launcher. Yeah, they don't really go very far. Okay, so you saw the Gup-G in action. It was pretty cool and fun. So now I will give this set a rating. So I do wish it was more like the Lego one I showed here, more accurate and more proper for the Fisher Price figures. I guess it would have to be bigger for that, so maybe similar to the Gup-W size. But apart from that, I do think it works really well with Gup speeders. Of course, I don't think they'd manage to put any other Gups inside it, so it is a very good size for Gup speeders. And I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10, because I mean, you can't blame Fisher Price because the Gup-G had never been shown in the show when they made it, when was it, 2014 or whatever, so they had nothing to go by what it looked like on the inside or whatever, so they did a pretty good job, and they made it, you know, very creative and fun with the whole Gup speeder thing. So now I've given the rating, I will try to put as many as I can in here. I will be just piling them all up, and on the outside too. Okay, we're almost there with every single Gup speeder I have. Sorry, it's going off the camera. I will move it up in a second. We're running out of room now. There's nowhere for these guys. There we go. There's, alright, last three, sorry. Mr. Gup-Y. Can keep that there. Okay, let's try in the mouth. The spring's not strong enough. It's just about holding up. Alright, last one, the Gup-Y. I'm not going to put these two because they're not proper Gup speeders. Last one. I'm not sure where exactly to put this. Oh, that works. Just on the end there. So, there we go. Every single Gup speeder I have, all piled onto the Gup-Y there. A lot of them are inside, and some in the mouth as well. So yeah, that's pretty fun. Now I'll just take all of these out before we have any avalanches. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this review. Please make sure to like and subscribe, check out all my other videos, comment below, let me know if you have this set, what you think of it, just anything. I love hearing from you guys, and I guess I'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, bye.